Hey, hello everyone. Good morning. Jennifer Smits with BlackRock Insurance. We are an independent insurance brokerage here in Santa Rosa and serving all of California and a few other states that we have licensing in, but mostly California. I own the business with my husband, Jason, who is actually more the managing partner here and does most of the work. I'm here for networking and doing the marketing and things like that for the business. We have two girls. We have Abby, who is going to be 16 here in a few weeks. And we have Emma, who is 19, and she goes to St. Mary's College and over in Moraga and enjoying her time as a college freshman. So we started BlackRock in 2008 after being in the insurance industry for a very long time and decided to go off on our own and open an independent brokerage. Today, I want to kind of do a fun little question and answer, a little Quizlet like show, just for fun to see if people pay attention to what I say sometimes. So I wanted to first start off, I know I talk a lot about homeowners insurance, and I do that because when we started BlackRock, our base was we always felt like we needed to start it with the idea of homeowners being obviously our best client, because they're bringing in not just their home, but usually the auto will follow because of the discounts that they get when they package up their programs. And oftentimes they're business owners or work for companies and do that. And so it was also something that brought in the business. So a quick question though about auto insurance. And David, you may be not allowed to answer any of these questions. Because that's not fair. So who knows what the state auto insurance property damage limit is that you have to carry on your auto insurance? Not you, David. Any question?
1530.
Right. And what's the property damage limit? So that's the liability portion. If somebody's injured and you hit them, what's the property damage limit? So how much do you get to fix their car? Nobody? So I have been telling you guys the wrong answer because I Googled it this morning. And because we don't even sell the minimum I always said it was $10,000. It's actually $5,000 in California. Can you believe that? So that means that if somebody's in an accident and they have the state minimums and they hit your car, they only have $5,000 on their policy to help fix your car. And what that means is then your own policy is going to have to kick in to cover the damage on your car, which is no fun for anybody. And most cars these days, I'm sorry, I mean, we're shopping for used cars. You can't find a used car these days for under $10,000, let alone $5,000. And, in a lot of cars, that's a headlight that'll fit, I mean, in these fancy cars with the LED lights and all of that. I mean, that's like $5,000 is a headlight. So that's why we don't sell that. It's not even worth it. It opens up a huge liability to our customers and to everybody else on the road. And so our standard here in our agency is at least 100, 300 on the bodily injury. And we usually do 100,000 on property damage and that's like what we have to do, because oftentimes there's, multiple cars involved or things like that. And we don't want to ever leave our clients open for liability. So next question is, how many days do you have to add a new car to your policy? Go ahead, David, tell them. 30 days. So you go and you buy a car. And in this case, the hope is you're already insured. It's covered for 30 days if you're already insured on your policy. So say you go to the car lot, you buy a car and you drive off and you get in an accident 2 days later. Right? But you're already insured with somebody. You just haven't given them the information on your car. The old car is insured or whatever. You have up to 30 days. You will be covered for that vehicle. It's kind of a mess. So obviously do it as soon as you can, just because it's not fun having to deal with all of that in claims. And believe me, you don't want to deal with claims. for very long. So that's, it's important. Auto insurance is interesting here in California because everybody has to have it. If you own a car, by law, you have to have auto insurance. And it's not just to cover yourself, it's to cover other people. And so it's an important thing that you have to have. It's an easy thing, obviously, for us to sell because it's something that everybody has to have and a lot of people drive. And also with, as far as, because we're an independent agency, we have lots of products and things to sell, especially for teen drivers. We specialize in that because we have 2 of our own that are teen drivers. And it's, we really take care in making sure that all of those people are properly covered. So now let's skip over to home. What is the state homeowner policy name? Does anybody remember when I talk about that? What's the name of the state policy?
California Fair Plan.
Thank you, Richard. Yes. So that's a name that up until a couple of years ago, we didn't even like to say because it wasn't even it's something that we had to bring in as an issue. Very, very little did we have to even deal with the California Fair Plan. And that showed in the amount of coverages that they offered at that time. It used to be the most you could get was $1 million in coverage. And I think that was even like fairly recent that they had raised it to $1 million in coverage. That was good. Now we're up to 3 million. Here's an issue in a scenario that we've been dealing with. There is a house, for an example, in the foothills that's on the market for $8 million. It's a beautiful house, beautiful property. Nobody's insuring in the foothills. Nobody wants that. Why? It's a fire alley. As we've seen. And this is a fire rebuild. And with California Fair Plan, which tends to be the only option, you only get up to $3 million in coverage for property damage. So what do people like that do? Well, one, oftentimes they can't get a mortgage because you can't insure it for the entire amount. So these are people that are usually paying cash or having a ginormous down payment to be able to cover it. And then they're going to have a loss if it burns down, obviously. 2, the hope is that there are companies out there like Scottsdale that may decide, okay, we'll do it. And your premium is going to be close to probably for something like that, $30,000 for the year to insure something like that, if not more. These days, they're if you're buying an $8 million house, they figure, and they can stomach $30,000 a year to get an insured and make sure that they'll get their money back. But this is going to be more and more of an issue here in Sonoma County as the rebuilds happen and the values of our homes become more and more. And on top of it, cost of construction and materials and all of that. It's crazy how much it is to rebuild right now. You know, there's houses in Fountain Grove that are getting quoted upwards of $900 a square foot to rebuild. So even a 3,000 square foot house is, you know, $2.5 million to rebuild. You're getting right up there to the edge of what a California Fair Plan policy can cover. The hope is like I said, that more and more companies will decide that as we get rain, that they might re-enter the marketplace or will say, okay, fine, we'll write that policy. We see that. Oftentimes travelers, as an example, travelers insurance will come in and say, sure, we'll take that Fountain Grove house, but I want their auto insurance. We want their auto insurance and we'll only do it if we do that. And so, and that's usually a pretty good, I mean, it's a good tactic, obviously on the company side, because they're getting a more profitable side of business, but it's something that we are dealing with on the daily of, you know, it's almost like spinning a wheel. Will this property be able to be insured by any of our companies? And hope that it lands on yes, and hope that it doesn't land on California Fair Plan. So that's kind of where the state of homeowners insurance is right now. Auto insurance obviously is always going to be something that we can sell and have great products, many, many options on that end. So do we have any questions as I have like a minute left? Anybody have anything?
Jennifer, how often should we review our policies for both home and auto?
As far as home, I mean, I would say yearly. It's always good. We always try and schedule or talk to our clients on at least a yearly basis because the climates change, and it's not just the actual climate, but the insurance climate changes, and there might be a new product, especially for people that we initially had to put in California Fair Plan or in our not off-brand insurance companies, but we do have like Guard and certain companies like that who are writing right now, and maybe we can put them more in a mainstream company and change them over and save them a considerable amount of money. Auto insurance, again, is also because, again, circumstances change. You know, like for us, we've got a teen driver coming on the policy, and now we'll have 2 teen drivers. Well, you know, that changed from last year, you know, so it's always good for yearly. So that's it, you guys. Thanks for listening and paying attention and always being a great support.